Hello everyone! Welcome back to our channel where we dive into the most jaw-dropping real-life dramas that feel straight out of a soap opera. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because today's story is going to leave you speechless. It's about a woman named Elena Vargas, a humble art teacher who married into wealth, only to face betrayal, humiliation, and ultimately, sweet revenge. Picture this: a glittering gala, a screaming husband, and a twist that turns the tables forever. But before we jump in, drop a comment below telling me where you're from and what you think about revenge in marriages. Let's get into it. Our story starts in the bustling city of Miami, Florida, where the sun-kissed beaches hide dark secrets among the elite. Elena Vargas, 32 years old, with her warm brown eyes and curly dark hair, was never one for the spotlight. She grew up in a modest neighborhood, the daughter of a hardworking mechanic named Carlos Vargas. Elena's passion was art. She taught painting classes at a local community center, inspiring kids to express themselves through colors and canvases. Her life changed 10 years ago when she met Diego Rivera, a charismatic businessman who swept her off her feet. Diego was the epitome of success: tall, handsome, with a smile that could charm investors and a wardrobe full of designer suits. He owned Rivera Enterprises, a thriving real estate firm that built luxury condos along the coastline. Their meeting was like a fairy tale. Elena was volunteering at a charity art auction, and Diego bought one of her paintings for an exorbitant amount. "This captures the soul of the ocean," he said, his eyes locking onto hers. Dates followed, romantic dinners on yachts, weekend getaways to the Keys, and promises of a future together. Elena fell hard, believing in true love despite her father's warnings. "Be careful, Mia," Carlos had said. "Men like him see the world as a transaction." They married in a lavish ceremony on a private beach, with Elena in a simple white dress she designed herself, and Diego in a tuxedo that cost more than her annual salary. For the first few years it seemed perfect. Diego showered her with gifts, though he often criticized her bohemian style. "You need to look the part of a CEO's wife," he'd say, buying her expensive outfits she rarely wore. Elena adapted, hosting dinner parties for his business associates, smiling through boring conversations about stocks and deals. She gave up her full-time teaching job to support him, though she volunteered at the community center to keep her passion alive. But cracks appeared early. Diego's mother, Isabella Rivera, a sharp-tongued socialite in her 60s, never approved of Elena. "She's from the wrong side of town," Isabella would whisper at family gatherings. "No breeding, no class." Elena endured the snide remarks, the backhanded compliments about her rustic cooking or quaint art. Diego defended her at first, but over time, he joined in, belittling her in private. "Why can't you be more like Sofia Gonzalez? She knows how to network," he'd complain, referring to wives of his partners. Money was another issue. Diego always claimed the company was in a tight spot, asking Elena to cut back on expenses. She sewed her own clothes, cooked budget meals, and even sold some of her paintings to help. Little did she know, Diego was living large, extravagant trips, secret accounts, and a mistress named Sofia, his young assistant. But Elena, loyal and naive, believed in their vows. Fast forward to Isabella's 60th birthday gala at the Fontainebleau Miami Beach, a venue dripping with opulence. Crystal chandeliers hung like stars, tables overflowed with lobster and caviar, and the air smelled of orchids and Chanel perfume. Miami's elite were there: politicians, celebrities, and business tycoons, all toasting the Queen of Philanthropy, who chaired countless galas but donated little. Elena stood awkwardly by a marble pillar, fiddling with the hem of her handmade emerald dress. It was elegant but simple compared to the glittering gowns around her. She had spent weeks perfecting it, using fabric scraps to save money. "The company's struggling," Diego had said when she asked for a new outfit. Now, surrounded by diamond-encrusted women, she felt like an imposter. She scanned the room for Diego, spotting him laughing with investors, tuxedo impeccable. He noticed her and his face darkened. Striding over, he grabbed her arm tightly. "What are you doing hiding here like a wallflower?" he hissed, his smile fake for passersby. Get to the head table. Mother's about to speak. And stand up straight, you're embarrassing me. Alina nodded, swallowing hurt. She was used to it after a decade. Appearances mattered most to Diego. She approached the head table, where Isabella held court in a ruby-red gown, accepting compliments like a monarch. Isabella, Alina said softly, "Happy birthday. I made you this." She held out a small wrapped painting, a portrait of Isabella from happier times. Isabella turned dramatically, accidentally knocking Elena's hand. The gift fell, along with a nearby champagne flute, shattering on the floor. Golden liquid splashed Isabella's hem. The room hushed. Music stopped. All eyes on Alina. "Oh dear," Isabella sighed theatrically, brushing her dress. Clumsy as always. What did I expect from? Well, Diego appeared, face red with rage. He didn't ask what happened. "What the hell, Alina? Can't you do anything right? You ruined Mother's night." "It was an accident," Alina whispered. "She bumped me." "Shut up," Diego bellowed, echoing across the ballroom. "You're a mess. I pulled you from nothing, and this is how you repay me. Your presence disgraces us." He grabbed her arm, dragging her through the crowd. "Diego, please." "People are staring," she pleaded. "Let them stare. See the burden I carry?" At the doors, he signaled security. "Get her out. Shove her in the car and lock it." "She's done here?" Asterisk the guards. Burly men in suits gripped Elena's arms, pushing her outside. The cool night air hit her as they forced her into the black limo, slamming the door. Locks clicked. Alone in the leather interior, Alina pounded the tinted windows, tears flowing. "Let me out, Diego." Through sobs, she saw the gala lights. Her life felt over-humiliated publicly, discarded like trash. But she wasn't alone. The driver, Mr. Ramirez, an elderly man who'd served the Riveras for years, turned. Diego often mocked him as the relic, but kept him for his discretion. "Alina," Mr. Ramirez said firmly, "stop crying. Tears won't fix this." Shocked, Alina wiped her face. "Mr. Ramirez, please unlock the door. I'll walk home." "Oh," he replied, handing her a tablet. "Not until you see the truth." Confused, Alina took it. On screen, corporate documents from the Florida Secretary of State, owner of Rivera Enterprises, Alina V. Vargas. "What? This can't be." "Diego was never the owner," Mr. Ramirez explained. "He was a manager on a 10-year contract from your father, Carlos. It expired yesterday." Carlos tested Diego's character. He failed spectacularly tonight. Elena's mind reeled. Her father, whom she thought was a simple mechanic living quietly, had orchestrated this. She sent him money monthly, hiding it from Diego, believing he was poor. "This morning, Carlos transferred everything to you," Mr. Ramirez continued. "The company, this car, the security, they're yours. Diego is fired." Alina stared at the gala windows, where Diego celebrated. Rage replaced tears. Mr. Ramirez pulled out a folded paper. Diego planned more. "This is a divorce petition for tomorrow. He claims you get nothing, no contribution to the marriage." Something snapped in Alina. 10 years of sacrifices. Insults, scrimping, all for this betrayal. "Unlock the door," she said. Voice steeled. Mr. Ramirez smiled, complying. He handed her an envelope. "Cash from reserves. Use it wisely." Alina stepped out, straightening her dress. It no longer felt modest, it was armor. The guards at the entrance moved to stop her. Mr. Ramirez cleared his throat, signaling. They stepped aside. Alina re-entered the ballroom. Music played, laughter rang. Diego joked with guests. Isabella preened. Silence spread as Alina approached. She ascended the stage, grabbing the microphone. "Good evening," her voice boomed. "I apologize for the interruption." Diego turned purple. "What are you doing?" "Security." But the guards stood still. "I, Alina V. Vargas, am the sole owner of Rivera Enterprises," she announced. "Due to fund misappropriation, this event paid from company accounts is terminated. Please leave." Whispers erupted. Diego laughed nervously. "She's joking." Nervous breakdown. "Alina, get down. Ignoring him, Alina continued. Diego Rivera is bankrupt. Staff here haven't been paid in months. Diego lunged, but guards blocked him. Alina approached the headwaiter, handing cash. Your back pay and bonus. Distribute now. The room watched in stunned silence as waiters divided money. Guests distanced from Diego and paid staff was social suicide. Diego stood alone. Destroyed. Guests filed out, avoiding him. It was his social execution. The next morning, Diego woke in a cheap motel, head pounding. He stormed to the office, but his key card failed. The receptionist pale. Your access is revoked. See the notice? A directive. Diego fired, Alina appointed. He tore it down, screaming. Plan, confront Alina at home. At the estate, gates locked. Code failed. He kicked through, stones cracking a window. Neighbors called police. Alina watched from upstairs, Mr. Ramirez beside her. From Diego's safe, folders of surveillance photos on Alina and Carlos predating their meeting. A contract. Carlos funded Diego to marry Alina. Full ownership after 10 years unbroken marriage. Diego waited exactly 10 years to divorce. Alina felt empty. Their love. A business deal? Police cuffed Diego outside. Alina, no charges for now. Inside, Isabella burst in with her key. You ruined us. She raised a hand to slap Alina. Alina caught it. Never again. Documents. Isabella's mansion mortgaged by Diego for his schemes. Payment due? Default means eviction, Alina said. 24 hours. Isabella collapsed, confessing intercepted Carlos's letters to Alina. Forging replies to isolate her. You're a monster, Alina said. Isabella fled. Alina headed to the office. Uncovering more monthly payments to a fertility clinic, she confronted the doctor. You faked my infertility. The treatments were contraceptives. Diego paid you. Betrayal deepened. Diego stole her motherhood. She blocked his cards, repossessed his car, Diego. At a gas station, cards declined, car locked remotely. He walked, pawned his valuable watch. Fake. Friends abandoned him. Desperate. He broke into the family cabin for heirlooms fakes. Swapped by Mr. Ramirez. Mr. Ramirez confronted him with recordings of Diego's plots. Police arrested Diego for breaking in, bailed by a favor. He planned a press conference with Isabella to smear Alina. But Isabella turned on him live. He forged my signature. Lead. Chaos. Diego fled. His mistress stole his cash stash. Left at Elena's art show. Diego disrupted. Community defended her. Alina offered. Prison or menial job in remote branch. He signed. Broken. Months later, foundation thriving. Alina pregnant via new treatment. Diego fired. Now a street cleaner, chipping ice. She drove past, indifferent. Friends, what do you think? Fair or cruel? Comment below. Asterisk, we're diving deeper into the aftermath. The betrayals don't stop at the gala door. Oh no, they multiply like shadows at dusk. We're going to follow Alina as she uncovers layer after layer of lies. As Diego spirals further into desperation, as Isabella tries to claw her way back, and as new characters enter the stage, some allies, some enemies. This is the part where the knife twists slowly. Buckle up, 'cause this one hurt even me to narrate. Let's pick up exactly where we left off, the morning after the gala. Alina hadn't slept. She sat in the CEO's office, Diego's former throne, surrounded by stacks of financial reports that Mr. Ramirez had pulled overnight. The scent of expensive leather and Diego's lingering cologne still haunted the room. But Alina was already planning to replace everything. New furniture, new paint, new energy. This was her empire now. Mr. Ramirez placed a fresh espresso in front of her. You should rest, Alina. I'll rest when I know exactly how much he stole from me, she replied. Her voice quiet but unshakable. They started with the obvious personal expenses charged to the company. Restaurants in South Beach, 5-star hotels in New York. Jewelry boutiques Alina had never seen. Predictable. Painful. But predictable. Then Mr. Ramirez opened a separate ledger. These are the offshore accounts. Cayman Islands, Panama, British Virgin Islands. He moved money through shell companies named after his childhood pets. Arrogant enough to think no one would ever look. Alina scrolled through the transactions. One line made her stop breathing. Monthly transfers, $12,000 to an account labeled SR Consulting. SR Sofia Reyes, Diego's executive assistant. The one who always wore tight dresses and laughed too loudly at his jokes in meetings. Alina was rarely invited to. Alina closed her eyes. She remembered the late nights Diego claimed were crunch. Time for a big deal. The weekends he spent. On site in the Keys, the perfume that sometimes clung to his. Shirts something floral and young that wasn't hers. How long? She asked. 7 years, Mr. Ramirez said gently. Started 6 months after your wedding anniversary in year 3. 7 years. While Alina was sewing her own clothes to help the budget, Diego was funding an entire second life. She didn't cry. Not yet. She simply nodded. Freeze those accounts. All of them. I want every penny traced and brought back. Mr. Ramirez hesitated. Some of the money went to medical expenses. Not yours. Elena's stomach dropped. Show me. He pulled up another file. Payments to the Miami Fertility Institute. Large ones, consistent. But that was my treatment, Alina whispered. He always said we couldn't afford more rounds. Mr. Ramirez's face was grim. These payments weren't for you, Alina. They were for Sofia Reyes. IVF, 3 rounds. Successful on the 2nd. The room spun. Sofia was pregnant. With Diego's child, Alina stood abruptly, chair rolling back. I need air. She walked out onto the balcony overlooking Biscayne Bay. The sun glittered on the water like broken glass. 10 years. 10 years of hoping, praying, crying over negative tests. 10 years of Diego holding her while she sobbed, whispering, maybe next month, amor. All while he was building a family with someone else. Mr. Ramirez joined her. Your father suspected something like this. That's why he insisted on the tenure clause. He wanted you to see the man unmasked. Lena gripped the railing. I want to meet her, Sofia. Mr. Ramirez raised an eyebrow. Are you sure? I need to look her in the eye. 2 days later, Sofia Reyes showed up at the office tower unannounced. Security called up a young woman, visibly pregnant, demanding to see Mrs. Rivera. Alina told them to let her through. Sofia strode into the office like she belonged, their blonde highlights. Designer maternity dress, oversized sunglasses perched on her head. 5 years younger than Alina. Radiant with that pregnancy glow Alina had dreamed of for a decade. You must be the famous Alina, Sofia said, voice dripping honey and venom. Diego told me you'd try something dramatic. Forging documents. Really? That's low, even for a bored housewife. Alina remained seated behind the desk. Sit down, Miss Reyes. I'll stand. This won't take long. I'm here to inform you that Diego and I are expecting a child. His heir? So whatever little game you're playing with the company, it ends now. That baby deserves what's rightfully his. Alina studied her. The arrogance. The entitlement. It was like looking at a younger version of Isabella. Congratulations, Alina said calmly. Boy or girl? Sofia blinked, thrown off. A boy. Wonderful. Have you chosen a name? We're thinking Diego Jr. How original. Alina opened a drawer and slid a folder across the desk. This is an employment contract. Junior administrative position at our new community arts center in Little Havana. Starting salary generous enough to cover prenatal care and child care. Full benefits. Sofia stared. What? You're talented at organization. Diego always said so. I'm offering you a job. A real one. No more consulting fees disguised as offshore payments. Sofia laughed sharply. You think I want to work for you? I'm going to be Mrs. Rivera. You're going to be a single mother, Alina corrected gently. because Diego has no money left. No cards, no car, no access. And when the auditors finish, he may not even have freedom. Sophia's hand went protectively to her belly. He'll fix this. He always does. He won't. Not this time. Alina stood. The offer stands for 1 week. After that, it's withdrawn. Think about your son. Sophia stormed out, slamming the door. But Alina noticed the hesitation, the fear flickering behind the bravado. 3 days later, Sophia called Mr. Ramirez. She accepted the job. No more contact with Diego. She moved into a modest apartment the foundation provided for single mothers. Alina never gloated. She simply made sure the boy would have art classes when he was old enough. Meanwhile, Isabella's eviction day arrived. The mansion in Coral Gables was a monument to old money marble floors, crystal chandeliers, a pool that overlooked the bay. Movers were already there when Alina arrived with Mr. Ramirez and 2 security guards. Isabella met them at the door in a silk robe, face puffy from crying or drinking, probably both. You can't do this, she hissed. This is my home. I raised my son here. You raised a con artist here, Alina replied. And you helped him. Isabella's eyes darted to the movers carrying out her antique furniture. Please, I'll leave Miami. I'll disappear. Just let me keep something. Alina handed her a single folder. These are statements you'll sign today, admitting Diego forged your signature on the mortgage documents. In exchange, I'll place the mansion back into the company portfolio. I'll let you rent a studio apartment in one of our affordable housing units. 1 bedroom, no staff. You'll live on a modest stipend that covers basics provided you stay out of trouble. Isabella clutched the folder like a lifeline. And if I refuse, then you're on the street by sundown and I've filed charges for conspiracy to defraud. Isabella signed with shaking hands. As the movers loaded the last box, she grabbed Elena's arm. There's something you should know. About your father's letters. Lena froze. What about them? I kept them. All of them. In a box in the attic. I thought if you felt abandoned, you'd cling to Diego harder. Stay in the marriage. Lena's voice was ice. Get the box. I found it. Hundreds of envelopes postmarked over 10 years. Carlos's careful handwriting. Alina opened one at random. My dearest Alina, I saw your painting in the newspaper, the one that won the community award. I'm so proud. I wish I could tell you in person, but I know you're ashamed of your old dad. I respect that. Just know I love you every day. Your father. Alina sank to the floor among the dust and cobwebs, reading letter after letter. Birthday wishes. Holiday cards. Updates about the farm he'd bought with his mechanical savings, actually profits from the company he'd hidden. Apologies for not being at her wedding. Pride in her volunteering. She cried then, quietly, for the father she thought had forgotten her, for the years stolen by Isabella's malice. When she stood, her face was dry again. Take whatever personal items you want, Isabella. 1 suitcase. The letters come with me. Isabella nodded, defeated. That night, Alina drove to the small house her father had lived in secretly all these years, a modest ranch outside Homestead, surrounded by mango trees. Carlos opened the door, older, grayer, but with the same kind eyes. They sat on the porch swing, reading letters together until dawn. No accusations, just healing. Back in the city. Diego's descent accelerated. Released from his short jail stay for the cabin break-in, Alina withdrew charges as promised. He tried to sue for wrongful termination. His lawyers took one look at the ironclad contract and offshore evidence, then withdrew. He sold his clothes, his watches, most fakes, his golf clubs. Friends ghosted him. Business partners blocked his number. One night, desperate, he showed up at Sophia's new apartment. She wouldn't open the door. Security escorted him out. He slept in his repossessed SUV for a week until it was towed. Then came the menial jobs: dishwasher, valet, construction, day laborer. Each lasted days before he was fired for attitude or incompetence. The final blow came when Alina expanded the community arts center. She named it the Carlos Vargas Creative Hub, Opening day featured student artwork, live music, food trucks, and hundreds of people from the neighborhood Alina had taught for years. Diego watched from across the street. In an orange municipal vest, sweeping gutters as part of community service for a minor offense, their eyes met through the crowd. He looked away first. Inside, Alina unveiled a mural painted by her students, a phoenix rising from ocean waves. Underneath, in small letters, "For the women who rebuild," as the applause died down. A man approached Hermeto Alvarez, an architect who designed the center's new wing pro bono. Tall, quiet, with kind eyes and paint-stained hands from helping the kids. "You did something extraordinary here," Kay said. Alina really smiled for the first time in months. "We did." Spring came early that year. Alina stood in her new doctor's office holding test results. Natural conception. Healthy pregnancy. Due in October, she drove to the cemetery where her mother was buried. Bloit wasn't just a maiden name. It was a promise kept. She placed fresh flowers and whispered, "I'm going to be a mom." On the way home, she passed Diego again. He was chipping old paint from a park bench, preparing it for fresh color. Their eyes met once more. This time, she nodded. Not in triumph, just acknowledgement. Life moves forward. He nodded back, then returned to his work. That night, Alina sat on her father's porch again. Fireflies danced over the mango groves. Carlos handed her a fresh letter. "This one new dot to my daughter. The strongest woman I know. I watched from afar as you became who you were always meant to be. I'm sorry for the pain it took to get here. But I'm not sorry for the lesson. You deserved to know your worth without a crown forced on you. Your baby will know a mother who chose kindness even when vengeance was justified. That's the greatest inheritance. All my love, Adelina." Folded the letter carefully and placed it with the others. The betrayals had deepened, yes, but so had her strength, and the story wasn't over. Not by a long shot, asterisk. We're fast-forwarding through the pregnancy, the birth of her child, and the one final unexpected test from Diego's past that threatens everything she's built. This part has tears, joy, rage, and a showdown that will leave you screaming at your screen. Grab tissues and let's dive in. October arrived with a soft Miami warmth, the kind that makes the ocean look like liquid sapphire. Alina was 8 months pregnant, her belly round and proud under flowing linen dresses she now bought without guilt. The foundation was thriving. 3 new art centers opened. Scholarships awarded to dozens of kids. Murals painted on formerly blank walls across the city. She worked from a light-filled office overlooking the bay, surrounded by children's artwork instead of balance sheets. Mateo Alvarez, the architect from the opening in Part 2, had become a constant presence. Not pushy just there. Coffee deliveries on busy mornings, accompanying her to prenatal appointments when Carlos couldn't. Late-night talks on the porch about dreams and fears. He never pressured. He simply showed up with quiet reliability. The opposite of Diego's flashy charm. One evening, as they walked along the beach near her new modest home she'd sold the ostentatious estate, Mateo stopped. "Alina, I know this is terrible timing with the baby coming, but I'm falling for you hard. I'll wait as long as you need. Years, if that's what it takes." Alina looked at him, the sunset painting his face gold. "I'm falling too," she admitted. "But I need to do this next part alone, becoming a mother without any complications. After she's born, we'll see." He smiled. No disappointment, just understanding. "I'll be here." The baby girl was due on October 15th, exactly 11 years after Elena's wedding day. Poetic, almost cruel. Labor started early on the 12th, during a board meeting. Alina felt the first contraction, excused herself calmly, and called Mr. Ramirez. "It's time." Carlos and Mr. Ramirez were in the delivery room with her, no Mateo yet. As agreed. Hours of pain, pushing, exhaustion. At 3:17 a.m. on October 13th, Valeria Vargas entered the world crying loudly. With a shock of dark curls in her mother's eyes, Alina held her, tears streaming. "Hello, my love. We made it." The next weeks were a blur of sleepless nights, breastfeeding struggles, and overwhelming love. Carlos moved into the guest room to help. Mr. Ramirez became Uncle Ramirez, rocking Valeria to sleep with old Cuban lullabies. The foundation staff sent flowers, artwork, handmade blankets. But peace never lasts long in stories like this. 6 weeks postpartum, Alina returned to the office part-time. One afternoon, security buzzed. "There's a woman here. Says it's urgent." Name's Lucia Rivera. Rivera, Diego's surname. Elena's blood ran cold. She hadn't heard that name attached to anyone new. Let her in. Lucia Rivera was in her late 50s, thin, elegantly dressed, but worn around the eyes. She carried an old leather folder. "You're Alina Vargas," she said quietly. "No question." "I am. And you are." "Diego's aunt. His father's sister. The one the family doesn't talk about." She sat, hands trembling. "I've been living in Spain for 20 years. I came back because Diego contacted me from prison now. Wait, he's not in prison yet, but he will be if I don't speak up." Alina leaned forward. "Explain." Lucia opened the folder. Inside, birth certificates, old photos, legal documents. "Diego isn't my nephew," she said. "He's my son." The room tilted. Lucia continued, voice breaking. "I was 17, unmarried, scandal, in a conservative family. My brother Diego's father and his wife Isabella took the baby and raised him as theirs to save face. I was sent away. I signed papers, giving up rights. I've sent letters, money, but Isabella returned everything." Alina stared at photos. A young Lucia holding a newborn, unmistakable resemblance. "Why tell me now?" "Because Diego found out last year, dug through old records. He came to me in Spain, desperate for money when his accounts were frozen. I gave him what I could. But then he told me his plan, to fake a terminal illness. Claim you'd poisoned him slowly over the years and sue for damages while painting you as an abusive wife. He wanted me to testify that I'd seen bruises you supposedly gave him." Elena's hand went to her mouth. "He has forged medical reports," Lucia said, sliding papers across. "Fake blood tests showing arsenic poisoning. He's been working with a disgraced doctor, someone you fired from a foundation grant. He planned to go public next month. Demand custody or visitation with Valeria on grounds you're dangerous and force a massive settlement." Custody. The word hit Alina like a fist. "But I can't let him," Lucia whispered. "He's my son, but he's poisoned himself with greed. I came to warn you. And to give you this." She handed over a recorded USB. "Our conversations in Spain. Him admitting the fraud, laughing about how he'd finally destroy you." Alina took it, hands steady despite the storm inside. "Why risk this?" "He's your child." Lucia's eyes filled. "Because I know what it's to have motherhood stolen. I won't help him steal yours." Security escorted Lucia out safely. Alina immediately called her lawyers. The counterattack was swift. Within days, Diego's fake medical reports were debunked publicly. The disgraced doctor flipped under pressure. Lucia gave a sworn affidavit. The recorded conversations aired on local news, anonymized to protect her. Diego's final plan crumbled before launch. He was arrested for attempted fraud, conspiracy, and filing false reports. This time, no deals. Alina pressed every charge. At the sentencing, Diego looked broken in an orange jumpsuit, real prison orange this time. He tried one last plea from the defendant's table. "Alina, for old time's sake." She met his gaze without flinching. "There were no old times, Diego, only a transaction. And it's paid in full. You've got 8 years. Valeria's first birthday came and went with a small party. Carlos. Mr. Ramirez, Mateo, now officially part of the family. Foundation kids painting a mural in the backyard." Alina stood holding her daughter, watching fireflies. She whispered, "You'll never know a day without love." But one final echo remained. Late one night, a letter arrived, no return address. Postmarked from the federal prison, Alina opened it with Mateo beside her. "Alina, I hate you. I dream of the day I walk free and take everything back. But some nights, I remember the girl who painted oceans. The one I met at that auction. I think maybe I loved her once before ambition ate me alive. Tell Valeria her father is a coward. Don't let her become one. I'm sorry. Not for what I lost, for what I stole from you. Diego Lelena read it twice, then folded it neatly and placed it in a box with the old contract, the one that started it all. She didn't burn it. She didn't need to. Some wounds scar over. Some lessons stay. Asterisk 5 years later. Valeria Vargas was turning 6 a bright. Fearless girl with paint permanently under her fingernails and her mother's warm laugh. The Beloit Cultural Foundation now spanned 10 centers across Florida, with outreach programs in schools, prisons, and hospitals. Alina had been named Miami's Woman of the Year twice. She still taught art classes herself every Saturday, apron tied over whatever beautiful dress she felt like wearing that day. Mateo and Alina married quietly on the beach 3 years earlier, just family and close friends. Carlos walked her down the sand aisle. Valeria carried flowers. Mr. Ramirez officiated. He'd gotten ordained online for the occasion. They lived in a light-filled house near the water. Open walls. Art everywhere. A studio for Alina, a workshop for Mateo. 2 more children had joined the family. Twins. Luca and Sofia, named after Mateo's grandmother, not the ex-mistress. Now 2 years old, life felt full. But echoes of the past still arrived occasionally. Isabella, now 70, lived quietly in the small studio Alina had assigned her. The stipend continued, utilities paid, a medical plan. She'd become a ghost, rarely leaving, attending church, keeping to herself. Once a year, on Valeria's birthday, a small handmade card arrived. Simple drawings, no words. Alina kept them in a drawer. Then one rainy afternoon, Mr. Ramirez called. Isabella's in the hospital, stroke. She's asking for you. Lena hesitated, then took Valeria with her. Time to meet your grandmother, she told her daughter gently. In the hospital room, Isabella looked small under white sheets, half her face slack from the stroke. You came, she rasped. I did. Liza's eyes filled. I don't deserve it. No, Alina agreed. You don't. Silence stretched. Then Isabella whispered, I kept something else. All these years. A nurse brought a locked metal box from her belongings. Isabella gave Alina the key with trembling fingers. Inside, jewelry Alina thought lost her mother's necklace. Wedding rings from her grandmother, pieces sold during tight times. And stacks of letters. Not from Carlos this time. From Isabella to her younger self. Confessions, regrets, apologies, never sent one. Dated the week after the gala. I taught my son to value things over people. Now I have neither. Another, I hated Alina because she reminded me of the girl I forced away, Lucia. Innocent, kind, everything I wasn't. The last, written months ago, if I could trade the years for one chance to hold my great-grandchild, I would. Valeria, curious, climbed onto the bed. Abuela? Isabella's good hand reached out, tears falling. Hello, Mia. They stayed an hour. No grand forgiveness speech. Just quiet presence. Isabella passed peacefully 2 weeks later. At the small funeral, Alina spoke briefly. She made terrible choices. But in the end, she tried to make one good one by telling the truth to herself. The metal box's contents were split. Some pieces went to the Foundation Museum, others to Valeria for when she's older. The letters Alina burned privately, scattering ashes into the ocean. One final loose end, Diego, released after serving 6 of his 8 years for good behavior. He returned to Miami quietly. No fanfare. No schemes. He got a job as a janitor at one of the Foundation's original community centers, the one Alina had taught at years ago. He kept his head down, cleaned floors, emptied trash, never asked for favors. One Saturday, Alina arrived for class and saw him in the hallway, mopping. Their eyes met, no words at first. Then Diego said quietly, The kids' murals look beautiful. They do, Alina replied. He nodded, returned to work later. The center director told Alina Diego had anonymously donated his prison earnings. Small, but consistent to the scholarship fund, no note. No credit sought. Some people change in big ways. Some in small, quiet ones. Maybe both are valid. Years rolled on. Valeria grew into a talented artist, winning national awards by 16. The twins discovered music and soccer. Carlos retired happily, surrounded by grandchildren. Mr. Ramirez finally took a vacation only to return because he missed the chaos. Mateo and Elena built schools in underserved areas, traveled when they could, came home to chaos and love. One evening, on their 10th anniversary, they sat on the same beach where Mateo had confessed his feelings. Valeria, now 11, painted nearby. The twins chased waves. Elena leaned against Mateo. Do you think it was worth it? All the pain. He thought. The pain wasn't worth it. But what you've built from it. Yes. 1,000 times, yes? Smiled. I used to think revenge would feel sweet. But peace feels better. In the distance, the sun dipped into the ocean, painting the sky in colors only Elena could name perfectly. And that, friends, is the end of Elena Vargas's story. Not a fairy tale. A real one. She didn't get revenge that destroyed. She got justice that rebuilt. She didn't forgive everything. She released what no longer served her. She became not the victim, not the victor, but the architect of her own joy. What do you think? Was the quiet ending with Diego too merciful? Should Isabella have gotten more punishment or less? And that final piece on the beach, did Elena earn it? Asterisk Valeria Vargas Alvarez was 14 going on 25 tall, fierce, with her mother's artistic talent and her father Mateo's quiet determination. She'd already won national art competitions, spoken at TEDx Youth about art as healing, and started a mural project painting over gang tags in struggling neighborhoods. The media called her the next generation of change. The twins, Luca and Sofia, were polar opposites. Luca obsessed with soccer and science, Sofia with ballet and books. Family life was loud, colorful, full of paint-splattered dinners and weekend beach bonfires. Elena, now 44, ran the Blois Cultural Foundation with the same passion, but less hands-on intensity. She'd hired a brilliant CEO so she could focus on creative direction and family. Mateo's architecture firm designed affordable community spaces nationwide. Carlos, gray but spry at 78, lived in a cottage on their property, spoiling grandchildren shamelessly. Mr. Ramirez officially retired, but never really. Still drove Elena when she needed to think in the car. Diego had been out of prison for 6 years. No one knew exactly where he was. Rumors placed him in Orlando, working construction under a different name. He'd never contacted Elena or the children. The anonymous donations to the Foundation Scholarship Fund had stopped years ago. He was a ghost. Until the letter arrived, it came to the Foundation's main office. Addressed to Elena in careful block letters. No return address. Postmarked Tampa. Elena opened it in her office. Mr. Ramirez present out of habit. Dear Elena, I've stayed away as I promised myself I would. I've rebuilt a small life nothing like before, but honest. I sweep floors, fix engines, keep my head down. 1 for survival, 1 for healing, 1 for legacy. Elena whispers to the ocean, we made it. The lanterns float. Lights against darkness, never extinguished. And that, friends, is the true end. Not revenge, not even total. Forgiveness, but transformation, the little music teacher, now art. Teacher who was locked in a car crying became the matriarch of a movement that touches millions. Her children carry light. Not chains, the monsters lost. Loved one, thank you for walking this journey with me. This story changed me too. If it moved you, share it. Someone needs to hear that betrayal doesn't get the last word. Asterisk Elena is 82, Mateo 78, both still alive, sharp, and deeply loved. Valeria is 54, Luca and Sofia 50. The foundation is a global powerhouse. But now the story belongs to the grandchildren, Inés Vargas Mendoza. Valeria's eldest daughter, 29 years old, named after her grandmother's mother. Inés is a brilliant investigative journalist for an international outlet. It's known for exposing corruption in powerful institutions. She's fierce, idealistic, With her great-grandmother Elena's eyes and her mother, Valeria's unyielding sense of justice. The storm begins with a single encrypted email. Ines is in Bogota, wrapping a story on embezzlement in a children's charity. When the message arrives from an anonymous source, subject: the Bloy Foundation is not what it seems. Attached financial documents showing millions siphoned from the foundation over the last 5 years, offshore accounts, shell companies, fake vendor contracts, the signature on every transfer. Elena Vargas Alvarez. Ines S. world tilts. She knows her great-grandmother as the saint of second chances, the woman who turned betrayal into billions for good, the matriarch who taught her power without integrity is poison. This can't be real, but the documents are meticulous. Bank stamps, digital signatures that match. Ines flies home to Miami. Immediately. Family meeting at the beach house now, a sprawling compound with cottages for each branch. Elena, frail but regal in her wheelchair, listens as Ines lays out the evidence. Silence falls like a guillotine. Then Elena speaks. Voice steady. Those are forgeries. Someone wants to destroy what we built. Mateo adds, but who? And why now? Investigation begins. Ines teams with her cousin Sophia's son, Nico, a 27-year-old cybersecurity genius working for Interpol on loan. They trace the money trail. Cayman Islands gives Panama gives a holding company registered in Delaware, under the name Rivera Legacy Holdings. Rivera, the name no one has spoken in decades. Diego's surname, but Diego died 30 years ago. Deeper digging reveals the mastermind. A man named Alejandro Rivera, 55 years old, claiming to be Diego's secret son from an affair during his final prison years with a visitor named Marisol. Alejandro grew up in poverty, learned of his inheritance through old prison letters Marisol kept. He became a financial hacker, brilliant and bitter. His goal, not just money, but total destruction of the Bloy Vargas name. He wants the world to believe Elena was corrupt all along, that her eyes was built on the same greed as Diego's. He's been planning for 15 years. The forged documents are only phase 1. Phase 2, a coordinated media blitz. Deepfake videos of Elena confessing to embezzlement. Paid whistleblowers. Hacked foundation emails showing fake racism, nepotism, abuse. The story breaks globally. Headlines: Icon of philanthropy exposed as fraud. Bloy Foundation. Empire built on lies. Donors pull funding. Centers face closure threats. Staff harassed. Children bullied at school. The family rallies. Elena, despite age, records a public statement. Dignified, tearful, but strong. I have spent my life turning pain into purpose. I will not let lies undo that. Valeria paints a massive mural in downtown Miami. Elena's portrait with the words, "Truth endures." Luca uses his sports platform to defend the family, but the damage is deep. Ines and Nico go underground literally. They track Alejandro to a compound in the Bahamas. With Interpol help, they plan a sting, the climax, a live global press conference organized by Alejandro to present undeniable proof. Ines crashes it virtually at first. Hacking the feed, she reveals real-time evidence: Alejandro's communications. His mother Marisol's testimony, coerced but now recanting. The actual money trail leading back to him, then the bombshell. DNA results. Alejandro is not Diego's son. Marisol had lied, hoping for a payout that never came. Alejandro built his entire identity on a fantasy. He breaks on live camera, rage, tears, confession. Arrested on site, the media reverses overnight. Tempted destruction of a legacy foiled young journalist saves family empire. Foundation not only survives, it thrives. Emergency donations flood in. New centers announced, but the emotional toll is heavy. Elena, exhausted, gathers the grandchildren one night. I almost lost faith, she admits. Seeing my name dragged through mud again, it brought back the ballroom. The locked car. Ines kneels beside her. You taught us how to stand up. Lena smiles weakly. Now it's your turn to teach the next ones. Alina Vargas Alvarez is 92. Her body is failing, but her mind and spirit burn bright. The family gathers at the beach house for what everyone knows is the last time. Valeria, 64, sits by her mother's bed. Luca and Sophia, too. The grandchildren, Ines, now 39, married with a daughter named Alina, little Lena. Age 8, closing parenthesis, Nico, cousins, spouses. Great-grandchildren, Mateo, 88. Holds Alina's hand. The room is filled with art, murals on walls, sculptures, photos from every era. Alina speaks softly. Beautivarian listens. I was once a humiliate wife in a locked car. I thought my life was over. But that moment was the beginning. She tells the story enough polished version, but the raw one. The pain, the rage. The choice to choose grace over vengeance. To the youngest, little Lena, she says, your name carries a promise to turn hurt into help, always. That night, under a full moon, the family lights lanterns. On the beach, one for every major chapter. One for the gala humiliation. One for the revelation in the car. One for Valeria's birth. One for the kidnapping Gand. Rescue. One for the forged corruption scandal. One for every life touched by the foundation. Hundreds float into the night. Sky. Alina watches from her wheelchair. Wrapped in blankets. She whispers to Mateo, I'm ready. He kisses her forehead. You did good, amor. So good. Alina passes peacefully 3 days later in her sleep. Surrounded by family, the funeral is globalness, but not sensational, dignified. Thousands attend in person. Millions watch online, speakers, from Presidents, artists, children who grew up in foundation centers, now successful adults. Valeria's eulogy, Mimother, didn't seek revenge. She sought restoration for herself and for Theward. Ines reads a letter Eleanor wrote for this day, to my beloved family. If you're hearing this, I've gone to paint with the stars. Know this. Every scar you carry is a place where light got in. I was never the hero. You all were by choosing love when hate would have been easier. Keep the lanterns burning. Keep turning pain into purpose. I love you. Beyond measure. Elena, the foundation, is renamed the Alina Vargas Global Light Foundation. Years pass and montage. Ines becomes its director, expanding to every continent. Little Lena, at 18, paints her first major mural, Alina in the locked car. Light breaking through the window. The twins' children carry on in sports, music, journalism. Activism. No more shadows rise. The light is too strong. Final scene. 50 years after Lena's passing, a young girl, great-great-granddaughter, stands before the original beach house. No a museum. She lights a single lantern. It floats up, joining invisible others in the sky. Voiceover Ines. Now, Dorley, the story began with a woman locked out of a ballroom. It ends with millions welcomed in. Fade to the ocean, endless and bright. Friends? That's it. The complete saga of Alina Vargas. From humiliated wife to eternal light. 8 parts. One Noonbreaker legacy. I'm crying writing this goodbye. Thank you for trusting with this journey. What was your favorite mint? Which character inspired you most? Where are you watching from today? On this December 26, 2025. Comment below. Share this series with someone who needs hope after betrayal. And remember, Elena's words, every scar is a place where light got in. Keep choosing light. I love you all. Until the next story. Whenever that may be, goodbye.